Today on our 2013 Jeep Wrangler, we're going to be taking a look at showing you how to install the Demco tabless base plate kit, part number DM9519292. This is what our base plate looks like when it's installed. It's going to be a custom fit base plate for your Jeep Wrangler with a factory bumper. And it's going to mount directly to your vehicle's chassis. It's going to be one of 5 main components in a flat toe setup, the other 4 being your tow bar, safety cables, wiring, and your braking system. It's going to provide you with a solid connection point between your RV and your Wrangler to safely flat tow your vehicle. The tabless design keeps the front of your Jeep looking nice and clean, while the tabs stay connected to your tow bar. It's also compatible and comes with the hardware to use most Demco tow bars and Roadmaster tow bars. However, an adapter may be required. It's sold separately but can be found here at etrailer.com. The distance between your brackets, center to center, is going to be 22 1/4. The height is going to be 18 3/4. The reason those numbers are important, you need to determine whether you need a high-low adapter for your RV. How you determine that is you're going to measure from the ground to the center of your hitch on your RV. You want that number to be within 3 inches of your bracket height number on your towed vehicle, because we want our tow bar to be as flat as possible when we're flat towing our vehicle. As far as the installation goes, pretty straightforward, pretty simple installation. It's not going to require you to do any welding. You will have to drill 1 hole on each side, and you're going to use 1 bolt in your kit. The remaining bolts that hold your bumper in place are going to be utilized to help hold your bracket in place. Now that we've gone over some of the features, let me show you just how easy it is to get installed. First thing we need to do to start our installation is we need to remove our belly pan. We're going to have 6 push pin fasteners that we need to remove. We're going to have 4 across the front, and we're going to have 2 that are holding this bracket and this bracket on. Just going to take a flathead screwdriver, push it in like that, kind of pry down the center. You want to make sure that the base comes with it. And we're going to set this aside and be reinstalled later on. Next thing we need to do is we need to unhook our fog lights, because we're going to need to remove our bumper. How we're going to do that is on the inside, right behind the light, we're going to have the plugs. We're going to push right there and pull out. Look at that. Do that on both sides. You're also going to have the wire coming from it that runs across the back here. You can take a flathead screwdriver. If you have a trim panel tool, you have little plugs like that that are holding it on. You want to make sure you remove those also. Next, we're going to remove our bumper. We're going to have 4 bolts on each side. You're going to have 2 on the outside of your frame rail and 2 that sit on the inside of the frame rail. Frame rail, there's 2 on the outside. Right on the inside of the frame rail, you're going to have 2 more. You notice the upper one is pretty high up in there. On the driver's side, it's hard to get to. So what we're going to do once we get the 3 out, we're going to take this panel off the top to get our top 2 bolts on the inside of our frame rails off. We'll take an 18mm socket to remove the 3. Now we'll take a Phillips head screwdriver. We're going to move this top panel here. This sits right behind our bumper, right below our grill. And these are just plastic fasteners, so take a plastic trim panel tool or even a flathead screwdriver, put a little bit of pressure on it, and you can back it out. Make sure that you get the base with it. Now we'll take our panel. We don't necessarily have to take it all the way out. We just need to slide it enough that we can get to this nut on the back side. Then we'll set our bumper aside to be reinstalled later. This front plate here, this top right hole, we need to widen to 9/16. You can use a 9/16 drill bit. I'm going to use a step bit. And what I've done, you can see we're 9/16. I've just marked it so I know how far to go. Now I'm going to take a paint marker. You can use black spray paint, clear coat. What we're going to do is we're going to cover that bare metal to resist any rust or corrosion later on down the road. Before we put our base plate in place, we're going to have to take out this part of this wiring harness. We're just going to pull it out the same way we did the others. Now we'll set our base plate in place. We're going to take this edge, we're going to start on the driver's side and we're going to slide it in like this. behind these bumper plates. Now we'll take some clamps to hold it in place. Next, we need to drill out the holes in the side of our base plate to a 1/2 inch. What I'm going to do to make this a little easier is I'm going to use my 1/2 inch drill bit, make my mark, and then switch it to a smaller drill bit to drill a pilot hole first. This will ensure that my hole is centered inside the hole in the base plate. You're going to repeat that same process on the other side. Then again, make sure you cover that hole with some paint or something to resist any rust or corrosion. Next, you're going to need a 1/2 inch by 1.5 inch hex bolt, lock washer, flat washer. You're going to need the blue Loctite that comes in your kit, and then your nut plate. Go ahead and add some Loctite to your bolt. You want to make sure that your bolt, your lock washer are in this combination. We're going to slide that through the hole. Now we'll take our nut plate. There's actually a little slot right at our front lower outside corner. This gives us just enough room to get our nut plate up inside and on our bolt. Next, we'll take a 19mm socket. We're going to tighten all of our hardware, and then we're going to torque it to the specifications in the instructions. Now we can remove our clamps and reinstall our bumper. So these two plates, actually there was 4 of them, but we're going to reuse 2 of them. 2 of these plates are going to go in place. If you notice where our bracket is on the outside of our frame rail on our driver's side, one of these plates is actually going to go on the inside, driver's side. On our passenger side, it's going to go on the outside. Once you've reattached your bumper, don't forget to plug in your fog lights and reattach your wiring. What we need to do next is put on our safety cables. We don't have safety cable hooks or cables for this that's supposed to wrap around our frame and around our base plate to hook onto. Normally there's holes. On this particular one, we don't have it, so we're gonna go by the instructions and we're gonna feed this part one end up in between our base plate and our cross member. We're gonna go all the way up like that. We're gonna take one of our connectors like this. Take one end, feed it right up through this gap here. You're not gonna be able to get it all the way up in there, but all we wanna do is attach the other end of this cable to the end of that one. And we're gonna take this end, we're gonna wrap it. We're gonna take the other connector and we're gonna wrap it on this one. So essentially what you're doing is you're wrapping a ring around the base plate, a ring around this cross member, and you're attaching them. So we have this one running through our other connector and through the other ring, comes around, connects here into the other side of our strap. So we're connected on all sides. Now we're gonna go ahead and reinstall 2 fasteners on our belly pan because we're gonna need to do some trimming. These 2 inside ones are the ones we're gonna be installing. Now we'll just take a black marker. You can use the old paint marker, any color paint marker you want. I'm gonna use black because our panel's black. We're gonna trim around and kind of over, and we can always take out more if we need to. And we can use a couple different things to cut this out. You can use a utility knife. It's a pretty pliable plastic. I'm gonna use a Dremel tool with a cutting blade. We're gonna repeat that same thing on the other side. This is what our belly pan looks like when we're done trimming it out. You can see here we had to cut out on this corner on our driver's side. Instructions want us to cut out a big circle here and then in a big spot here. I like to try to keep it as close as I can to the bracket. You can see here on the passenger side how I did it. It only comes out to about here. So, you know, it's completely up to you how you cut it. You can follow the instructions, just cut yourself out a big hole there on both sides and be done with it and make it easy for yourself. Once you have everything back in place, you can go ahead and reinstall your panel up here on the top. That'll do it for a look at and installation on the Demco tabless baseplate kit, part number DM9519292 on our 2013 Jeep Wrangler.